Alrighty. In the West, Kansas is the number 1 seed, UCLA the 2. What say you about this bracket?
What in the world is the committee's problem with Kansas? That's what I have to say. Not only did they put Kansas as the number 3 seed, taking them out of the Midwest region, which is a huge deal for a Houston team that got destroyed by a 8 seed in the conference tournament championship game. The explanation given on the selection show, unless I missed something, was basically, which is possible, I was so angry I wasn't paying super close attention, admittedly, was basically, look, Marcus Sasser didn't play. And they've been very consistent this season. They don't get blown out. I would hope not. You're playing in the ACC. AC, sorry, not ACC. I would hope that Temple doesn't blow you out, you know. And yes, they played Alabama close. They played Virginia, obviously beat Virginia. Houston's very good. We don't need to go over that again. Nowhere in there was, and talking about, you know, okay, so Bill Self not being there for the Big 12 tournament, that got taken into consideration. Nowhere in that conversation, unless I missed something, was there conversation about Kevin McCullough. Kevin McCullough didn't play in that Texas game. Kevin McCullough is not only one of Kansas's most important players. Kevin McCullough is not only their best perimeter defender. He's also one of the, you know, the 7-8 players they actually use.
Mm-hmm.
Not having him is a big deal, and not having a body is a big deal, because then what happened? You went back to Kansas where nobody is scoring, and Jalen Wilson scores an empty 30 and they lose.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't get any kind of grace for that. But for some reason, it's okay for Houston to get blown out by Memphis after, right, they nearly lost to him twice already.
Mm-hmm.
I've got no issue saying Kansas isn't the number 1 overall seed. How they're not 2, I don't know, and it is a big deal because that took them out of their home region. I got no explanation for it. And then, not only that, what's your reward? Oh, just 2 teams that could make it to the Elite 8 in your 8-9 matchup. To me, the biggest loser in this bracket, hands down, is Kansas. That's your reward for having the most quad 1 wins in the country and winning the best conference in the country. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, yeah. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with all you just said. Can I retweet it? Is that okay?
Sure.
Can I just hit the retweet button? Fantastic. I'm gonna keep a buck with you. I don't especially care what Kansas' road is. Don't especially care. I think they're gonna make it through whatever their road is. So you can throw whatever you want to at them. Do it. Do whatever you want. I don't even care, Josh.
What happens if I throw Purdue in there?
Stop that. That's not a moral dilemma I have to come in contact with right now. Stop it.
That is correct.
Stop it. Okay, let's get into some picks here. Some picks. Top of the bracket, Kansas. They get a gauntlet game against Howard in the first round. Arkansas and Illinois, the 8-9. St. Mary's and VCU, the 5-12. UConn and the Fighting Rick Pitino's his last chance to resume build before he hops ship to go somewhere, but it's definitely not Iona.
And he's probably getting a early start on the Big East prep for next season.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Man, Rick Pitino in the Big East. What a slate of coaches the Big East is putting together. What say you about the top half?
Kansas,
Who gets to
UConn.
the Sweet 16. Yeah, I feel like that's just the right answer. Right?
Look, if Arkansas somehow gets out of those first 2 games, 100% can make it to the Elite 8, can make it to the Final Four. I'm just to a point where they haven't done enough for me to go out there and say they're going to beat Kansas.
Yeah.
And
I was really excited to be all high on them going after the SEC tournament. And I just
Yeah, exactly. And then UConn is just simply better than the other teams in that quadrant. So give me the Huskies.
Yeah, I went very let's go Nick Smith. Trivia time. How many more shots did he take than points in their quarterfinal loss to Texas A&M?
5.
4. He was 6 of 20 for 16 points.
Yeah, that's tough.
With a 4-to-5 assist to turnover ratio. That's tough. It's tough. Shouts to my boy RC4, who I'm a little salty is coming off the bench and is now just like 1 of 7 and playing 19 minutes. I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful. Just a little bit.
And it's not working.
Yeah. I'm a little upset about it. But yes, I think that UConn and Kansas make it to the Sweet 16. Who goes to the Elite Eight?
Kansas.
Okay. That's also the right answer.
I really tried to talk myself into UConn. Couldn't do it.
No, you didn't. Stop it.
I tried. I tried.
Did you try to talk yourself into him just because you hate Kansas and all that they stand for? Like if that was just any other team that's clearly the best team in this bracket, would you have tried to talk yourself into it?
It's just this thing with UConn that you watch them and you just go, my goodness, that's a Final Four team. And then they just...
Do you still watch them and see and think that? I'm not sure.
I mean, I did it last year too.
Fair. Okay.
They're just so right. I mean, you got the size on the interior. You've got Jordan Hawkins. They are so long, so physical, so athletic. They just, I picked them to win the Big East tournament, and then they went toe to toe with Marquette, and they lost. Now, they very well may have won it had they beaten Marquette, but they didn't. So I've cooled on them enough where I couldn't rationalize going deeper than the Sweet 16 where they're supposed to be. And yes, it's still Kansas, and Kansas is just better at winning NCAA tournament games than most teams. Because, by the way, Dan Hurley needs to win some this season. They are one of the teams that not that they need to go to the Elite Eight or anything, but at some point this needs to translate to success in March.
I mean, isn't this year one of them actually having an advantageous positioning?
They were a 5 seed last year, weren't they?
Were they?
I'm almost positive. They lost in the first round to New Mexico State.
All right, then never mind. I also just didn't think last year's team was that good, so I kind of I didn't really. I don't have a special memory of that. Talk about what a fall from grace from New Mexico State. Can we talk about that for a second?
Mm-hmm.
They went from beating UConn in the first round of the NCAA tournament to just having their program just all systems grinding to a screeching halt.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Yeah, okay. I agree with that more than I thought I did. But I also, we're still, what is this, year 4 of Hurley? Year 4?
Something
year
like
5?
that.
Year 5 of Hurley. But definitely year 2 of advantageous NCAA tournaments position.
Yes.
They were the 7 seed in the first round. They have not, I don't think he's won a game in the tournament yet, though.
There you go.
I think that is correct. Yes, because they did not make the tournament years 1 and 2. And they had a first round exit as a 7 seed to 10 seed Maryland that year. A Maryland team that was better than that's a 17 and 14 team that was 35. That was 35th at KenPom. Eric Ayala, Darryl Marcel, Dante Scott, young Dante Scott, Aaron Wiggins.
Yep,
that was a good basketball team. All right, fine. Okay, but I've got Kansas going on that side of the bracket as well. Okay, bottom half, TCU gets the winner of Arizona State. Talking about the other Bobby Hurley. Arizona State, the other Bobby Hurley, the other Hurley. There's only one Bobby Hurley. Thank you, Joshua. Kansas, Gonzaga, and Grand Canyon. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Northwestern and Boise State in the 7-10. Talking about a Boise State team that I've probably thought about twice all season. It's just plotting away, winning the tournament. There we go. UCLA and UNC Asheville. Let's see. Not just about that 2-15 matchup. The entire bottom half.
Let me give you 5 minutes on UNC Asheville.
Don't. I will turn off your microphone. I have the power. I will turn it off.
I got Gonzaga, UCLA. I am very sad about this Jalen Clark injury. Now, they haven't ruled him out. The school hasn't ruled him out. Everybody else is saying he's not playing. But as far as I know, at least heading into the end of the Pac-12 tournament, he was done for the tournament, but they had not ruled him out for the NCAA tournament. That's a big deal. Again, there are injuries at the top of these brackets for some of the title favorites that are really interesting that you don't usually have these kind of conversations. Whether it's Kevin McCullough, Marcus Sasser, Jalen Clark, you can go down the list. So I hope he's healthy, just because they were fine without him. They're not the same team. And as much as I love TCU, Gonzaga is rolling. It's happening. So that's my Sweet 16 matchup there.
Yeah, that's where I end up as well. There's a small part of me that thinks that this is just the year for Gonzaga. Just a small part of me. I feel like for this, that very much in the not a ton of reason why, other than nobody expects them to.
Right, exactly.
Which just kind of feels like we're gonna look up. It's like, oh right, Drew Timme, still a college basketball player, right? Forgot about that. And that they just kind of sneak their way. You know, I expect them to be in the Elite Eight. I think Gonzaga is going to beat UCLA in the Sweet 16 and set up a Kansas-Gonzaga matchup in the Elite Eight because of the unfortunate circumstances that UCLA finds themselves in. I also think it just is they haven't announced it yet because like they don't have to announce it yet. Right. I mean, like at some point it's going to be like, yeah, that guy's not playing in a game. And that guy's not playing in another game, and he's not getting any better, and then he just will have not played in the NCAA tournament. But at this point, why? Like, you might as well keep your opponent guessing when it comes to game planning. So yeah. I don't think it's much more than that.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't either. I'm operating under the assumption that Adam Bona is going to be back, and Jalen Clark is not going to play. That's my guess. Yeah. That game is the one though that I would really. Especially if Clark somehow is able to play, but even if he's not, that's one of them I look at and go, that would be a lot of fun to get that rematch.
Yep. All right. Do you have Gonzaga in Kansas?
Yep.
Who you got?
Gonzaga.
My boy. I'm picking Kansas.
This is where, they don't have the size to deal with Drew Timme. This is where if Kevin McCullough is injured / not 100%, if they have a bad game from the supporting cast, and also Gonzaga can just drop 90 on you, as we've talked about before. Mm-hmm. There's something. I'm all in on this theory that nobody's paying attention to Gonzaga, so this is the season.
8 at KenPom, the number one offense in the country. They haven't lost since February 4th. Absolute gauntlet, 2-game West Coast Conference tournament. Just a gauntlet. Just absolute gauntlet. They beat San Francisco by 11. They beat the brakes off of St. Mary's.
Yep.
77-51. I like that. I'm a bigger fan of your pick than I am mine. But I've kind of planted my flag in this Kansas most in best position team to repeat in a minute, and so I feel like I have to stick with that. So I've got Kansas in the Final Four.